Another edition of Conversations with Deuce and Mo. Over 50 games of the NBA season in the books, trade deadline in the rear view. We've got Kings GM Scott Perry with us. What's up, Scott?
What's going on, Deuce? Mo?
How are you
How
doing?
we doing today?
We're
You doing
good. I just want to I just want to lay this out.
Oh.
Because some people are going to be like, okay, ask him about this room or this guy. Did they almost trade for this guy?
Right.
He can't answer these questions.
We
We can't ask him about trades.
Sorry, guys.
There's nothing that we can do about rumors that are out there.
Even though we would love to.
Oh, trust me, I would
and
love to know.
I
would
wish I
love
was
to,
a fly on the wall, like in all
Yes.
these conversations,
Yeah.
but
with all the proposals, stuff you denied, but
Just
we can't
say
do that. Well, let's dive in. Trade deadline in the books. What were the goals going into it, and how do you feel everything went down?
Well, the goals going into it, obviously, you're looking for an opportunity to improve your basketball team, whether it is in the short term or the long term. How do you go about improving? Is it gaining draft capital, or is it obtaining a player? Those usually are the two ways, and we ended up picking up a player. Didn't feel like the draft capital that was real was not what we thought it would be, so we valued the player more than any potential draft capital that was going to be out there. Excited about DeAndre Hunter, because he's a proven player. He's experienced. My time in New York, I watched him grow. I remember when he was coming out in the draft, but watched him go as a player in Atlanta. He played an important role in knocking us out the playoffs in one of my years in New York. But you hear people talk about 3-and-D type of player, but he can put it on the floor a little bit, but he can really defend the basketball. He's been a really good three-point shooter throughout his career. I know this past season's dipped a little bit in Cleveland. But he had a good playoff series for Cleveland last year, so he brings some playoff experience as well. High character guy. You've heard me talk about the 6 pillars. He fits that. And the good thing for us in terms of long-term building, very short contract. So, the remainder of this season and next. So essentially he becomes an expiring contract next year as well for us. And so we'll see the fit, see how he likes being here and how he fits with what we're trying to build here.
And you talk about DeAndre Hunter. I guess let's talk about that whole trade then too. With Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis, obviously Dario Saric, but you just mentioned the 6 pillars. And I know for a lot of Kings fans, they were like, wait, doesn't Keon Ellis fit those 6 pillars? So what went into getting off of Keon Ellis as well?
Yeah, no, absolutely he does. And I've had conversations with him about it, but as you know, when you make a trade, a lot of times you have to give something up. And Keon was valued by Cleveland as well. There was going to be a decision that needed to be made about Keon as well contractually coming this off season. And so, again, we needed more size, though. And we, as you've seen it play out this year, we've had so many guards on the roster. And so you've seen guys in and out of the rotation. Keon was one of those guys. So there was long stretches he didn't play. There was some stretches he did. So we just opted to get a bigger version of that. So, and again, like I said, this guy, and no deference to Keon, obviously has been more accomplished as a player as well in the league.
And Dennis was obviously someone you were really excited about too, but the fit maybe not what you guys thought it would be. Like, what was it? Is it tough to pivot in those situations when you commit to a guy in free agency?
It's always tough because there's a human element of
Sure.
it, because you build relationships with all of these players. But I think we all understand. We understand from a front office perspective what we've signed up for. I think players understand it too, that nothing is guaranteed in terms of, being able to stay in the same situation all the time. It's very rare that a player is drafted and stays in one place his entire career. You probably can count those players on one hand. But so having been in the job long enough, it's important to understand and evaluate, when to move, when to pivot. And we just decided this was an opportune time to pivot. And like I say, get a little bit bigger, clean up a little bit of the glut in the backcourt. And what it also does, Neek Clifford, I think, is starting to grow and emerge. And, we drafted Neek to be a guard.
Yeah.
But as you saw earlier in the season, just to get him on the floor he's playing 4, 3, which I think kind of interrupted his development a little bit, to be quite frank, just because it's tough. You're asking a guy to defend guys for this first time that are 4 or 5 inches bigger than him, stronger.
Yeah, as a rookie.
Just as a rookie.
Yeah.
And so now he's playing more of his natural position of guard, which a lot of Kings fans got to see in the offseason this past summer in Summer League. And so I'm excited about that, too, freeing up some of that for us, because he's got great positional size as a guard, and he has the ability to put the ball on the floor, excellent passer.
Yeah.
And then now I think he's going to be able to establish more of the confidence necessary that's needed as becoming a good NBA player.
I think speaking for us and even for just a lot of this fan base, it is so much fun seeing some of these young guys get opportunity, and then also seeing them get opportunity in roles that make more sense for them. Mm-hmm. We always talk about this. It feels like when guys come to Sacramento that they always have to play up or they're miscast. And so it's nice when someone can develop in the right way. And now, even with someone like DeAndre Hunter, you already kind of talked about what he can bring, but what do you feel like he can bring when Keegan Murray is back too?
Yeah, great question. And that's what I'm excited to see, because really Keegan Murray was the only one on our roster with the kind of size and versatility to guard multiple positions. The league now, you need those 6'7" to 6'10" wing type players who can guard multiple positions. Well, Keegan has been guarding 1 through 5, since I've been here.
Name that star player.
Exactly, right.
Steph Curry, Jokic.
Keegan go get him. Now, in DeAndre, because the irony is when DeAndre first came in the league in Atlanta, he was that guy for Atlanta.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to go guard Steph. Oh, go guard Jokic tonight. Oh, go guard this guy tonight. So he's had that experience in guarding just about every position on the floor too. So now if you can put 2 guys on the floor at the same time, it'll be interesting to see how that comes. I think both of those guys will appreciate it. Now you can kind of stick more with your matchups. So if one guy slotted in as a 4, he can guard his matchup at the 4. Another guy guards his matchup at the 3. And so that's what I'm excited to see. And look, Neek has some size. He's not quite as big as them, but he has the ability to, for sure, guard 1 through 3.
He's strong, too.
And he's strong, exactly.
Chest.
So we just want to continue building a roster with more athleticism, more length, more versatility. So we'll get DeAndre gives us an additional guy to see what that looks like on the floor.
And another thing that came about, Dylan Cardwell gets his 2-way contract converted to a standard contract. Obviously, you guys saw something in him. Has he even surprised you a little bit with how he's impacted the game and his opportunity he's gotten this year?
I'm going to say this to you. And I've been in the league 25 years. The jump that this young man has made from the time watching him in the first summer league practice to now has been one of the quickest, greatest jumps I've seen during my career. And again, that's not to put any pressure on him or set any unrealistic expectations. What I saw in him, the condition he's in now, is way better condition than what he was this summer. Mm-hmm. He's embraced that. He's attacked that. His pursuit of rebounds, so much better than what it was this summer. His feel of just having the ball in his hand, this summer, when he was involved in dribble handoffs,
oh my
he
God.
got a rebound.
He was afraid of it.
Exactly. Yeah,
we saw that
exactly.
Stockton a little early. I'm like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
And now,
because, again, in college, he was asked to just kind of stay away from the ball, screen, go to the offensive glass, play defense. But it's a testament to him. It's a testament to the coaches in Stockton, and then our coaches, obviously, with the Kings, that have been working with him to his improvement. But he has to own most of it, though, because he's embraced it. He wants to be good. He has a great belief in himself, and I think that's important for any basketball player. If you don't believe in yourself, who will? But he's humble, but he has a very strong belief. And I think now that he's been able to rebound effectively. I think he was second in the G League in rebounding during his time with Stockton. And I think in terms of his minutes per game, he's probably the leading rebounder of the rookies. I think I read a stat about him there, and it can only get better. So for him, he's tough. His energy is infectious. I think when you see him come in the game, I think you see a different side to our basketball team. There's a different energy level that happens. And those are the kind of things that don't necessarily show up in the stat sheet, but are extremely important to setting the foundation to become a winning team.
Yeah, and that one of the things we talk about is when he checks in to a home game.
Yes.
I mean, he wants the crowd to get into it, and they love him already.
Yes,
That's the one thing with Kings fans. If you have a guy that's going to go in there and just compete, play hard, play
you don't
with
have to do
joy,
much, but
defend,
if you just do the right things.
They lose their mind for this guy because he blocks a shot and he's like getting the crowd into it. He's celebrating. I don't think I've ever seen a guy celebrate like he has with like a block or a rebound or wwhatever.
No, it's refreshing to see that type of energy and kind of joy and passion for the game. And you can see, like I said, his teammates not only that are on the court with him at that time, but the guys on the bench. They're reactive to that. They get, even the older vets, that they'll smile and say, okay, proud of young fella. Look at what he's doing. So a lot of growth left there for sure. Not a finished product by any means, but he's definitely trending in the right direction. And I'm so glad we were able to convert him to a full-time contract. So we're going to have him here for a number of years with the Kings.
Yeah, and that's the thing, even with some of these young guys. I know some people will always get worried, like when we're talking about the good, and they're like, oh, they already see him as this, or this. And it's like, no, but you always hear people just point out the flaws and point out what they can't do. Why don't we point out what they can do on the floor? And especially someone like Dylan Cardwell, who has actually made a serious impact in NBA games right now.
Well, that is a tremendous point when you say focus on. No, it is.
Don't
I'm
do
very
this to
serious.
her.
Exactly. No, focus on what guys can do versus what they can't do. I mean, there's very few players that can do everything on the court. I mean, again, that is a very small list throughout the history of the game. So embrace what you can do. And I say that to any young player coming in there. Find your niche first, and then you grow and build off of that.
Yeah.
And again, a testament to his development. We're obviously coming out of the trade deadline. I won't share any, obviously, team or anything, but we started getting calls about him. Oh, so he's gone from when no one drafted him this summer, and just looking at him as Exhibit 10 to now I'm getting teams around the league saying, well, what about Dylan Cardwell?
Well,
exactly.
That's crazy.
What's so cool about that too, though, and I mean, this part isn't the cool part, but because of health and injuries this season is why we saw these opportunities for Max, for Dylan, for Neek even. When you look at some of those opportunities from these young guys, and now you've even seen the last couple of games where the team is at right now, are we going to start seeing that shift with this organization and with just the minute distribution? I know it's Doug, it's coaching, all the things, but I know you guys being on the same page too.
No, I think organizationally it's important. Look, the record is what it is. It's disappointing to us all, but you have to get something out of this season too. So, okay, that part didn't go well. So let's make sure, though, that we grow and develop these young players so as we move toward the future. That's going to be important. And that doesn't lessen the importance of any of the veteran players. Obviously they're going to be expected to still play and contribute, but I think organizationally it's important that our young guys grow this final third of the season, get more minutes, get put in situations so we can see how they're going to handle them so they're not foreign to them when we kick it off next season.
So you played just over 50 games, and I know this year was going to be an evaluation period. You're coming in, looking at how things are going with the current group. What do you think you've learned during this stretch, and like how has that maybe shaped your approach going forward?
You learn really the personalities of everybody, of your team, both coaches and players. You learn about guys who maybe fight through adversity better than others. So all of those in that learning part is important when you're talking about shaping the team going forward. Look, even the good teams, which I've been a part of during my career, go through difficult times. And so you evaluate when you're good, the same thing. Okay, who can push through fatigue? Who can push through a 10-point deficit on the road? Who can push through a shooting slump? Whatever the case may be, that's what I'm looking for. I'm learning the people that are here, and that's an important part of. I say this all the time when you talk about building a team, when you're acquiring talent, whether it's through draft, free agency, trades, whatever. You're getting the player and his talent coming in, and you're getting the person coming in, but you can't separate them. They're not mutually exclusive. They're coming in together. And that is an important part for me, has always been. And so that will continue to be for me, too, is just really evaluating that total package and how that's going to fit in terms of what we want to build.
Well, I know we've stated this so many times. This season has been, disappointing or weird or however you want to put that word or describe it. But what have you liked about this season, if you can find a positive, and what absolutely has to get better?
Yeah. We'll start with what I like as far as, despite the record, normally when we come back the next day from a disappointing loss, the mood in the building has been positive and uplifting.
That's cool.
Now, that's a testament to Doug and his staff, because they're coming in with some good positive energy the next day and kind of let go of what transpired the night before. But it's also a testament to the players, too. The ability, okay, let's shake it off, have a belief to move forward. So I haven't seen, after some losses, you see a few heads hung and all that. That's human nature. That's natural. But I've seen it where that lingers. And I haven't seen that linger around. So that's been a very positive thing. Overall, it's been positive with their young guys in terms of their approach and energy and their willingness to learn and listen. And then veterans like DeMar and Russell, pouring into these guys and trying to, help them grow as players. Things that I haven't liked is more just, again, the lack of consistency that we've shown.
Yep.
And a lot of that is execution-wise, whether it's sharing the ball offensively. A lot of times the ball has become too stagnant for me. And
Sticky.
so that's frustrating.
For everyone.
It's for everyone. Okay. Yeah. And so that has been a source of frustration. And then defensively, there's been times where, we're not making the consecutive effort plays that I feel are necessary, and we as an organization feel is necessary to become a very good defensive team.
Yes.
See, it's one thing to maybe stop an initial drive, but that's not the end of the defensive play. There's rotations, there's helping your teammate, those kind of sacrifices, way too inconsistent, not as good as I've wanted to see, but we got to work towards getting there.
Last game we're seeing a closing lineup with a lot of the young guys, and I think Devin was in there, Neek, Dylan. And you have these vets that you talked about. Are there conversations that have to be had with them just to be like, hey, like down the stretch, there is a focus on getting these young guys more opportunity and development so they can see what you have in them. And that means they're going to get fewer opportunities to go on out there and do their thing. Like some of these guys are used to playing heavy minutes in the league.
Of course. This is where I have great respect for our veteran group and as professionals and as guys, because I personally, and I know Doug has as well too, but sat down and set expectations with all the guys for this, basically coming out of trade deadline and All-Star, and the All-Star break is next week, what our focus needs to be. Now, do we still want to win games? The answer to that is yes. But we have to develop these young people. And I need these guys to be on board, not only playing when asked to play the minutes, but understand that, look, we got to develop some young guys behind you too, so your minutes may not be what they were up until this point. And all those meetings were received very well, professionally, buy-in, and that's a testament to them as people and professionals.
Yeah.
And so, I'm just looking forward to watching how they pour into the younger guys as we move forward. And we're going to still need them. I mean, obviously, the game is 48 minutes long,
Yep.
and hopefully they'll do their part to help us, win some of those games. And so that I want enough positive feeling throughout this growth process that guys feel like, every time they go out there, there's no way to win. There's always a way to win.
I like hearing the fact that you guys can all communicate, because I think that alone, like you said, shows what type of team, what type of veterans are on this team. And I even heard Vince Carter talking the other day and being like, every team should have at least 2 veterans, because these guys are so important. And I feel like that's what we're going to see down the stretch.
Vince, when I was here the first time,
Yeah.
we brought Vince here. So that's my
yeah.
guy. Exactly.
Yeah.
So I know Vince.
Now he's saying it on TV.
I agree with him. It's important because as much as Doug or the coaching staff can try to pour into a player, or I can in my front office from our perspective with these players, it's important to have somebody who's tying their shoes next to them and who's been there, done that, if you will, and willing to. That's the key part. Some guys have been there and done that, but they're not willing to share and pour into the young guys as others. We're fortunate to have a few of those guys on this roster that have shown a willingness to do that. Even though they're highly competitive guys and they want to do their thing, but they don't understand because they're reflective enough to remember. And I've had these conversations with both Russell and Debo and Zach as well too. You all were in this position before too, when you got started. And so they all were able to reflect, I had a veteran or two that poured into me, that helped me, showed me the way. And that's the beauty of the game. Cool. And I think more veteran players need to follow their lead and take the responsibility of passing on their knowledge to the next generation.
We spent a lot of time talking about Dylan, but your other rookies have shown some signs too, briefly on Neek, but what about Maxime Reynaud? I mean, your draft overall at this point looks pretty good. Like, what are you seeing in the young guys that excites you going forward about maybe their upside and potential in this league?
All of them have very strong basketball IQs. You ask about Max. He's obviously has a very high one. They all, Max included, the willingness to get better and listen. Sometimes young guys can come in the league and think they have all the answers. Well, this group, and as a group, they're all pretty much the same in this. They want a knowledge poured into them, and when you tell them something, they're trying to figure it out and go do it. Max, was the unfortunate part of Domas being out for 33 games was the fortunate part for Max.
Yep.
He got the ability to play, start, get a lot of minutes, gain confidence, that otherwise, if Domas had been healthy, he probably doesn't get that opportunity. And so he's made the most of it, though. One thing I noticed in him this summer that was really great is his vocal ability defensively. People were worried about his defensive ability, but the fact that he's such a good communicator and loud communicator, that is helpful to establishing and building a good team defense. Now, look, he's got to learn how guys he's switching off against and big guys he's playing against. All rookies are going to go through a torture chamber, if you will, when it comes to that, and learning some hard lessons. But they keep answering the bell. He has good offensive ability, as you know. He's got a very good touch on the offensive end. But he, too, I'm impressed. He's taken on the challenge, and we've challenged him to become a better rebounder outside his area. Mm-hmm. And he's now starting to, add that into his game, rebounding outside of his area, which is very important. So he wants to be good. That's important. I think all three of these guys, if they continue along their trajectory, it works to what I call very good rotational players. We aspire, ultimately, when we become really good, I want to be a team that's truly 10 deep.
You got to be in this league.
Yes.
Yep.
And so there's three guys there, I think, that it can fall into that bucket on a winning team.
So as you're building this out, we knew this is going to be a process here, especially when you took the job. It was going to take some time to figure some things out. What would be your message to Kings fans today?
Just stay the course, stay along for the ride. I understand their frustration. Again, let me just, and you guys are from here, so you probably can express the frustration
for sure.
much better than I can. I get it. But again, I'm someone who's been at organizations that were at this point. And, again, nothing is ever quote unquote carbon copy, but there's a lot of similarities to places I've been. Even to the place where I started, my hometown, Detroit. There was frustration at one, and ultimately, obviously we reached the highest pinnacle there and eventually won a championship. But we stayed the course. We never did anything out of panic. We never did anything that was, listening to the outside noise and feel like, oh, everybody's pressuring us to do this. We have to do this. No. We're going to make what we feel of good, sound basketball decisions that will help the organization both short and long term. Try to stay away from quote unquote the poor or bad decisions, because I think most bad decisions are made out of panic.
Yep.
And they're made out of okay, 5 other teams have made 5 trades during the deadline. How come we only make 1 or not making any or whatever? No, your time comes, and we're going to pick the right time. And I think the important thing when we got here, too, is had to examine, where the roster was, and what you inherit. And so we have bigger salaries here, not as much flexibility to do a lot of things this year and even into to next year. But so, if you wanted to do something rash out of that, now you set yourself back in terms of building forward. So we're just going to keep pushing forward.
Yeah.
We're going to get there, Kings fans. Please tell them that. And I get it. We got a big draft coming up. That's going to be very important. I think, and I would remind Kings fans just to look around the league, that the teams that you see now, the majority of them that are in the upper echelon, got a high-end talent, probably up toward the top of the draft, that's leading their way. And you can go down teams, with the exception of OKC, you have Chet Holmgren, who was, high pick, but they got Shea in the trade.
Yeah.
Jalen Williams.
And Jalen Williams, but he was a lottery pick as well, too. So that, you got, and Shea was a former lottery pick, so you got 3 lottery picks there. And you look at, the Minnesota with Anthony Edwards, who was the #1 pick. And you just go on down the line. You look around on both sides. Obviously I was in New York, and that was built a little bit differently, but there's some, a guy drafted is still there with Mitchell Robinson, who's a key contributor to that team, and Deuce McBride is still there, and Jalen Brunson, who signed as a free agent. So all these teams it's taken years to get to that point, to where you can be successful. And it takes time for guys to play together and develop a cohesive group. And so we're a little ways away from getting that full cohesive group, and that's going to take time. And that's just a fact. And you can't fast track it. I just haven't seen that work.
I'm with you, and I think that's one thing we've talked about so many times is like
So
being in the
many
middle is like
Yes.
the worst spot to be. And this season's obviously been tough on everybody, but
Yeah.
I feel like this is the low point. Like the reality is, you
Right.
get a good draft pick, you keep building this thing out,
Yes.
and there's hope that builds, and there's excitement again. And this is the tough moment right now.
Yeah, look, I don't know of any championship team or successful team, let's take championship out of it, just team that's consistently winning, that didn't go through temporary pain season, and that's just part of it. There's seasons of pain and growth in order to get there. If you're just trying to sit in the middle, like you said, you're going to be stuck in the middle, and you're going to have little to no success in there. And there's much frustration there because there's no way to get out. So, no, we're going to keep trending in the right direction.
Well, we appreciate you taking the time. I know
Yeah.
it's been a busy stretch. Hopefully you can take a deep breath and
Well,
a little bit, I guess.
I have to. This is an awesome set that you have here.
Yeah.
I mean, this is
We
from the
did it
first time I
ourselves.
met with you guys to now. I'm like, okay,
I know.
We built this entire thing ourselves.
No one else
we
helped
designed
us.
it.
Yep.
All the furniture from us.
Kidding. This
No.
is a
It looks
whole team
awesome.
of
It
people.
does.
Isn't this
I'm
cool?
like, yeah, that's cool.
it's
You know
comfortable.
what? The Big O.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah. What do you guys know about the Big O? I know
mean,
you didn't watch the Big O. Exactly.
I wasn't actually alive for the Big O, but I
Were you live for the Big O?
No, I mean
Oh, you said you
alive.
weren't alive.
I was not. How do you think I am?
Exactly. That's what I thought when you said I was alive for the Big O. I said, wait a minute.
No,
You're
no,
like,
no.
dang,
I mean,
you look
I'm
good.
very familiar with the legend
There
of
we
Big
go.
O.
I got to, not to date myself too bad, but I got a
Please.
chance to see the Big O play when I was a kid in Detroit, when he was with the Milwaukee Bucks, and there was a guy by the name of Lou Alcindor at the time. God, he wasn't
what a
Kareem
team,
Abdul-Jabbar
huh?
Yeah, that was the year they won the championship. I think that was 74, 73, 74. So I was 10, 11 years old.
Wow.
So I remember that.
That is so.
You saw that in person?
Yeah. So
Okay,
so
we're
Big O
gonna
was-
we're gonna do this again, at
Yes.
some point, and just like talk hoops with you too, because like
I would love to
I
do
wanna talk
that.
Chris Webber.
I would
I
love
wanna
to
talk
do that.
Big O.
So,
I
yeah,
wanna-
exactly. No, I would love to do that. I would
Sweet.
love to do that. I grew up in the game, so a lot of fond memories.
no. Well, thank
And
you.
I want to create the biggest thing. What would be a crowning achievement for me
yeah.
is to have some of those memories here in Sacramento with
Yeah.
this organization, with this fan base, with this team, and that's the goal. That's what drives me during the day and at night.
Love it.
Because I feel the passion and the emotion from this fan base, and it would be awesome to see that come alive.
There's nothing like the passion here. And
Mm-hmm.
I say it all the time. I mean, you go, I'm not going to name other markets, but sometimes other markets, teams are not doing well. They're not engaged at all. And this fan
No
base
question.
has
I've seen it. Exactly.
the engagement is there,
Yeah.
the passion is there. And I always say when it turns, it's going to be the best feeling ever. You know, you saw it
be
a few
awesome.
years back in that brief moment, and it was magical. And I can't wait for that day again. And
Yes.
it's going to be a special time. And we wish you the best of luck doing
All
it.
right. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. I appreciate it.
It's the one and only Scott Perry.